Hello commanders and welcome in part 2 of the Chinese Empire series. We continue with the invasion of Mongolia as his capital Ulaanbaatar has been totally destroyed. Now I am only going to introduce my land forces, also his other city in Muron to the west. It's empty and I'm going to take it as well. Only a matter of provinces to take about the Mongolian Empire and it's going to be ours. Of course, Mongolia was our first target because he was active and he was taking some AI nations around him. Now I'm going to start preparing my armies for the Korean invasion later because now South Korea has taken over North Korea and of course later on he might go for the Chinese Empire. So to be able to save ourselves, we need to act swiftly. We need to fortify our borders and our lands between Korea and China. Here I'm going to assemble all of my armies in one single unit, and later on I will of course fix the compositions of my armies. Like usual, tough stacks of recons and motorized infantry. It's always favorable to use towed artillery to attack from distance. Meanwhile, I'm going to start spamming the frigates for now to secure my Chinese coast, Chinese ocean here. It's very important because we have a lot of threats from the south. Japan, Philippines, Indonesia, Australia, New Zealand, all of these Pacific nations, they are considered as threats and we need to be navally prepared for them. Also, on the land, I'm going to start the upgrade of the mobile anti-air. Mobile anti-air, they are very useful early game. Because they can provide a decent anti-air versus other aircrafts, because early game you will always see gunships or strike fighters, and these two you can actually damage them with air superiority fighters or mobile anti-air, because mobile anti-air only needs level 1 army base and level 1 arms industry, so it's not going to be a milestone and a long way to get those anti-airs. One corvette is ready from the city of Hong Kong. I'm going to send it to my Gulf of my capital Beijing there. I need to surround Korea before starting the assault. I need few surface vessels there to surround all of the Korean island before entering in the land army. Because if he wants to disembark from the sea and goes to my homeland cities, my ships, they are going to intercept him. Of course, whenever you start an invasion, you always try to anticipate the counter-reaction of your enemy. For example, if you are going to attack from the north, you need to always put in mind that your enemy can go from the south, get outside of his nation, keep it empty, and go straight to your homeland cities in a kamikaze attack. You know kamikaze attack, he doesn't care if he dies, he just wants to take you down with him, sacrifice himself with you. To prevent this from happening and create a strong empire and also be safe, I do not want to lose any homeland cities. I am going to surround my nation with surface vessels. And Mongolia, all of it, is under the reign of the Chinese Empire. You can see now how our empire has been larger, bigger and stronger. Just imagine if we now continue conquering all of the Korean island and later on Japan, and we start controlling the Pacific Ocean. That is going to be a decent empire to see. Okay, the invasion of Korea is underway. I'm going to start the war versus the two Koreas, the remainings of North Korea and also South Korea as well. I'm not going to waste any time here. I surrounded all of the island with frigates. I am going to bombard all of his coastal cities there. You see that it is surrounded from all sides, east, west and south, from the capital Seoul to Busan in the south. And the land armies, they are starting the invasion from the north. And you can see here our coastal cities, all of them spamming frigates, all of them. Even though we are spamming frigates, and you know frigates, they consume a lot of electronics, level 1 frigates, they consume 1100 pieces of electronics, yet I still have 8000, and my production of electronics, 147 per hour, it's the same as the components and even stronger than the production of supplies. You can imagine the strength of the electronics production of China. It's something decent. This is why I chose China in first place, and from the beginning when we chose the build-up and the strategy that we are going to follow, I literally followed a strategy that is going to consume a lot of electronics. Now we are only in day 10. In the upcoming days, you are going to discover all the build we are going to follow. Like I said, it's going to be frigates and submarines in the sea. And on land, we are going to have the anti-air, the full set of anti-air and land armies. In air, I'm going to follow the path of strike fighters. Of course, I do not want the strike fighters to die after the elite attack aircrafts has been invented. So I'd like to use the strike fighters because, how can I say it? They are the most OP units in Conflict of Nations. They are fast, strong, they are strong against everything pretty much. Yeah, the elite attack aircrafts, they are very strong against land target, they have a decent damage there, but against SAMs and against air superiority fighters, they are, even against strike fighters, they can be totally destroyed. Okay, so you see here that I'm surrounding all of the homeland cities of Korea, bombarding them and keeping them empty for my land armies to enter. Pyongyang has fallen, and there is one South Korean infantry there. I'm going to kill it with my Taut artillery from distance. This is the privilege of having some artilleries in your composition of army, because artilleries, they can literally wipe out armies without receiving no damage. You do not have to use the melee damage. You can easily attack from distance without getting no damage. So that's very important to attack from distance, by the way. And this feature, you can find it in ships, artilleries, or only motorized infantries level 6 or max level. To be honest, I always advise to attack from distance, because that reduces the amount of casualties that you are going to commit during every war. At the same time, that's going to deal with wars very quick. And even if your enemy has a strong army, like a composition of anti-air, tanks, the mechanized infantries, you can always attack it from distance with artillery. And of course, the Taut artilleries, they are the weakest ones. Mobile are stronger, and multi-rocket launches, they are the strongest, because they have the range and they have the power and they have everything. You see that while I am invading Mongolia and Korea and everyone here, at the same time I do not forget about my economy. Like, at the same time, always when I attack, I always keep my mind into my economy. You can always see my arms industries being upgraded. At the same time, you can see that I am focusing as well on the economy I'm having, because you know from the resources production panel that we are going to start suffering from supplies production very soon. This is why I am going to upgrade my supplies cities with arms industries, of course. At the same time, I do not want also to run out of components to not stop the production of navies. I need to keep upgrading my arms industries. Later on, if this is not enough, I'm going to start annexing cities. Okay, meanwhile now, I'm not finished with the Korean War yet. All of these lands, they are not being conquered yet. I'm going to start my preparations for the invasion of Japan. So 100% in the next episode, we are going to see an invasion of Japan. We are going aggressive in this game. We want to control all of the surrounding regions here, because China is a very huge nation and we have a lot of threats all around. The good thing here that our neighbors, they are starting to have problems. Mentioning India and Russia, both of them, they has some conflicts with other neighbors, so that's going to keep them busy for the moment. It's our chance to control all of the Pacific Ocean and expand the Chinese Empire. Of course, you cannot speak about the Chinese Empire without conquering Taiwan. Yeah, I went directly to the city of Taipei and conquered Taiwan. I surrounded it with frigates and I took it down. Okay, now I'm going to start preparing my navies and surround all of these areas. At the same time, I'm going to send my land armies to the seas, because later on, when I clear out all of the dangers, my land armies, they are going to find empty cities to take. Thank you so much for watching episode 2, boys. Let's meet up in episode 3. Bye bye.